Hey, so I'm Conan O'Brien Jr. and basically, some people have been saying that there's some internal control issues with my company. I think we're doing fine, but I have to go check up with some internal auditors and kind of give them a rundown of the process and stuff like that. And we'll see what they have to say.
Hi, how are you? Monica Perez.
Hi, Conan O'Brien Jr.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
All right, so to get a sense of what your company represents, and tell me a little bit about yourself and your company.
Well, so I'm the descendant of the one of the great late talk show hosts, Conan O'Brien. He actually lent me out about $1 million, and that's how I founded this company, O'Brien Company. And basically what we do is we sell manufacturing parts. We sell on a credit sales basis. And what happens is we have 3 lines in which we sell. It's either through fax, telephone, or website. And then after we receive a sales order, we put that into our customer database, produce order sales tickets, and then those tickets are sent to the warehouse, in which warehouse employees can choose out the parts that need to be shipped out. Once the warehouse employees ship out those parts, they create a invoice, and that is where they document how many items they're shipping out, and that invoice is sent to the customer as the invoice for our accounts receivable.
Okay, so now what do you want from us?
Well, apparently some people have been saying, lower level employees have been saying that there are some issues with our internal controls, saying that some customers are not getting their orders, some customers are getting orders that they did not order. So, personally I thought that the system I created was flawless, but perhaps I should get a different perspective from maybe your internal controls consultancy and see where there may be areas to improve upon.
Sounds like a huge task, but I'm sure we can accomplish it. And I assure you we're going to make O'Brien great again.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so this has been a really rough week. Apparently we have this new client called Conan O'Brien Jr. apparently, but he looks Asian, but whatever. We gotta get pulled to work Saturday. There is no overtime pay, but you gotta do what you gotta do to get promoted. I'm hoping one of the partners will leave soon, retire, or die. That way I could get promoted. I've been here for like 10 years. It's a rough life.
What's up, guys? Y'all need to get it together. Alright? I just got informed that our internal controls are terrible. We need to fix this ASAP.
Alright, so I talked to the company and he gave me a run through of what they're all about and their transaction process, technically the revenue cycle. And so he told me that their customers order either from the website, fax, or telephone. So all their sales are either credit or they're recognized as FOB. One of their issues is that they have about 15% uncollectible accounts, and they have to either be written off, or what happens is that some of their customers deny ordering something, or they're not receiving their goods. After orders are placed by the customers, the orders are picked by the company and sent to the warehouse. However, it is important that there's a lot of things missing, which is not good, as you guys know. Another problem is that there's a lot of delays on the shipping because these things cannot be found in the warehouse. So they're very unorganized in the warehouse, and that needs to be corrected. And when they're missing, they record it in a book, so it's not in the system. And it's only updated at the end of each week, which is not good. Alright, so they do have a perpetual system in place, but they do not hold any physical inventory count. And their warehouse is arranged in alphabetical order, it all depends on what the customer's name is. And another thing to add is that the loading dock, it receives and also ships out at the same time. So, and they have like 10 to 20 deliveries coming in each day, so that can be a problem. And finally, when the ships are shipped out, the final invoice is prepared only based on what the company sent out. So your guys' job is to come up with internal controls and a good flowchart of what the company should have.
I honestly don't know how Brian survived all these years. Like, they have so many problems. How are you still managing this? You know what they say about accounting is at the end of the year, they close their books for temporary accounts. O'Brien needs to close their books forever.
All right, so what did you guys come up with?
So I came up with something to help with the perpetual inventory problem. There's nothing wrong with the perpetual inventory itself. However, we could address it by taking physical count because it poses a problem of inaccurate orders and then stockouts, potential loss of customers because they are not getting what they want and in the right quantity. And we could also have our barcodes and scanners to make reading the products easier. So another problem that I saw was that all of the sales were on credit and 15% were marked as uncollectible. And the threat I see to this is that we have uncollectible accounts by a huge percentage because even 1% is too big. And there are errors that in our system of taking credits that are invalid. So to implement a solution, we should check the customer credits before accepting them, and then we should have a credit limit posted for every customer we have to ensure that we are recording the right amount of sales and that we are producing revenue. And then there was an issue where the customer names were alphabetized.
Mm-hmm.
So that poses a threat of delayed shipping orders, and it's very important that we fix this problem by having the shipping documents just verified and then have it done by date of the order so that the customers can get their orders and in an orderly time, and we can reconcile the shipping documents with sales order, picking list, and packing slips.
All right, so finally, Jackie, what do you have for us?
So I've been looking at the system and I've noticed that we've been getting a lot of complaints about customers denying that they have not received their orders, etc. So I think this is a big problem because we really don't know whether it be the customers that are lying to us or there's something wrong with our inventory system where there's no reconciliation of shipping and invoice orders. So I think the best way solution to deal with this is kind of just to investigate the system and employees. We really need to ensure that, I took notes here about how we should make sure that the employees in charge of recording, authorization, and custody aren't doing everything at the same time. There should be a segregation of duty so we could document every process. That way when a customer comes back to complain about something, we could have correct documentation to kind of see things through. So another problem I realized was how we've been getting a lot of messages that a lot of the wrong items were received and the shipping was delayed for a lot of the orders. So I think the biggest weakness for this is the fact that the sales invoice, they weren't issued before and after. So really, we as a company, O'Brien, they really didn't rectify their mistakes with regarding to refunding customers when it is necessary. So the solution that I think we should come up with is I'm not sure, does O'Brien have like a refund policy that you know of?
I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's something to bring more satisfaction to their customers.
Right. So, maybe I'll go speak to O'Brien later, but I think definitely a good recommendation would be to have, a proper refund and return policy for customers, and that way, we could sort this thing out, and also we should like track, the number of shipping orders so that customer would know where the orders are, whether it be, shipping in Kansas or like kind of just track the shipping. So, the last problem I've noticed was the scanning system. I noticed that O'Brien is pretty traditional. They still use kind of like a manual logbook where employees would kind of write down like the inventory that's coming in, coming out. So I think maybe we should implement a barcode scanning system where, we could have everything digitalized. That way, everything's a lot more efficient, and we could kind of count the inventory at hand. Because I've noticed that a big problem we have had is the fact that O'Brien keeps missing inventory, from period to period, etc. So honestly, at this point, I think a barcode is the best way to go. It's very efficient, very accurate, and we could solve this issue.
Yeah, this company is tanked. I mean, the inventory system is all shot, and the real thing we're missing here is Conan O'Brien, O'Brien's father. That's who we really need to make the company great again.
All right. So in terms of the flow chart, what did you guys come up with?
So for the O'Brien Company's ordering department, this is our flow chart. We think that, first of all, the customers, there's 3 ways of ordering the products. There's the order by website, fax, and by phone. And then when they go through all 3 of them, which goes through the customer database, as you can see here, they're automatically sent. And then when they're through the customer database, we send them to our shipping management factories, where the order tickets are produced to the warehouse workers, so they can start sending out the products designated for the shoppers. And then after that, it goes through to the A and the E, which then goes through the warehouse department, which Tiffany will then elaborate on.
Thank you, Jackie. So then after tickets are produced, they will go through the database and alphabetically sorted. So that data will go to the computer, which will then update the perpetual inventory system, as well as the database order. And then it'll be processed, then sent to the warehouse after it went to the loading dock. Then all the information that's been gathered will be used to determine what the customer has ordered in exact item number and also the quantity. Then the items will be shipped, and then the customer database will then be updated.
Thank you, Tiffany, for explaining the warehouse and loading dock part. For a building department, the building department will send out information where the computer sales will update when the orders are sent out to the customer. And that will update the sales master file. And additionally, the invoices prepared for the customer are also sent out simultaneously by the billing department, which will go back to the customer in the ordering department, as well as the accounts receivable master file will be updated. And that concludes our perfect flow chart for the current situation of O'Brien.
Hello guys. Hello lady. Hello that. So you guys told me that you had some suggestions or improvements that could better the transaction process of my company. So I'm here now. Why don't you guys go ahead and show me what you guys have?
So here we can see the improved flow chart. The red that are highlighted are our recommendations that we would advise you to improve on. So in the ordering department, again, it's the same thing. Customers could order through the website, fax, or phone. But then what we do recommend is to have credit checks for customers who do order our products, because we've noticed that in the past a lot of customers don't necessarily pay the money, or they have really bad debt. We have a lot of write-offs with account receivable, so we think that's a big issue that we have to tackle. So and then if customers are in good form, they go through to the customer database, which then we again recommend for customer invoices to be automatically created. That way there is kind of like a tracking kind of motion here, and then the customer database will then send the order tickets to the warehouse for them to ship the products to the customers. And then Tiffany will elaborate on her improvements.
Thank you, Jackie. So as the credit checks are being performed, and then afterward, we have to go ahead and check those in the warehouse for the correct item number and the correct quantity. And then warehouse it will communicate back to ordering department to let them know that the right items are in stock. So there will be no chances of stockouts, which have occurred in the past. So that issue will be addressed. And once the ordering ticket has been produced, it'll be processed, and this time instead, it'll be done by the order date so that the customers who order will get their items in a timely manner, and there will be no delays, and the information then will be processed by the computer to update the perpetual inventory system, as well as the database order. And after that, we will have items with barcodes so that they can be scanned out, and that way we can have an accurate count of our inventory, and then the items will basically ship out like they did before, and then the customer database will be updated.
Thank you, Tiffany, for explaining our updated warehouse and loading dock flowchart. In the building department, it remains the same part where we have the building department update the computer system for the sales when orders are sent out, and that will go to the sales master file. But the changes that we made this time is that instead of having the invoices sent and confirmed the moment they are shipped out, the invoices will be finalized only with and reconciled with customer order, so along with the quantity shipped out. It will also go to the customer first to ensure that they have received the product. Additionally, the sale will only be recognized when the customer receives the order, rather than recognizing a sale the moment it is shipped out. And once this is completed, the data will be sent to the accounts receivable and in the customer database, which is linked back to the ordering department. And finally, the accounts receivable will be updated in the master file. And that concludes our recommended flowchart for O'Brien.
Well, thank you for your suggestions, guys. I really enjoyed your presentation. It was very informative, and I'll be sure to do that next time. You know, I've had that system for 15 years. You know, we started this company back in 2010, and for them to just go in there and tell me that something's wrong with my system is just, it's something. But I mean, they did a good job, but you know, I'll probably implement it, but I still think that the traditional system had its good parts.
Well, it was a pleasure working for your company, and I wish you the very best, and I see huge potential in your firm, and good luck.
Thank you. It was a pleasure working with you as well. So we definitely need to renovate our internal control system. So you, the person in my ordering department, you're fired. You, working in the warehouse department and overseeing things, you're fired as well. And you, do you know where you're going? You're fired too. Hope you guys have a good day.
Man, this guy's a nut job. I can see him becoming the president one day.